Start things out with some 80s thrash. This is Eternal Nightmare, the debut from the band Vio-Lence, originally released in '88 on MCA Records, Mechanic Records. This is thrash metal of the absolute highest quality. And if you're not familiar with Vio-Lence, they were formed in '85 in San Francisco, California, and they released Eternal Nightmare in '88 and 2 additional full-lengths and 1 EP in the early '90s before calling it quits after guitarist Rob Flynn left the band to form Machine Head. The other members reunited in 2001 for the Thrash of the Titans show, a charity for Chuck Billy and Chuck Schuldiner, and they performed some more live shows, but then Phil Demmel joined Machine Head and the band was laid to rest again. Back to Eternal Nightmare. When you talk about Vio-Lence, it's mandatory to bring up Sean Killian's vocals, as they are very unusual. A lot of people can't stand the vocals and dismisses the band for that reason, but whether you like them or not, you can't deny that the riffs are killer. And I find it strange that people can look past Dave Mustaine's horrible vocals, because in my opinion, Killian's vocals are better than Mustaine's, and the riffing-wise, Vio-Lence is way better than Megadeth. All 7 songs on Eternal Nightmare is packed with awesome riffing. It's so good, this record easily qualifies in my top 10 of all time. If I had to choose a favorite track, it's a toss-up between TDS and Kill on Command and the title track. Anyway, my copy is an original UK pressing from '88, and I bought it on Discogs for a very reasonable price. There are no inserts, but you have the lyrics on the back cover. It has been remastered and reissued on double LP in 2015, 16, 17 with the Torture Taxes EP and some demo songs on it, but they seem to be sold out everywhere, but they pop up on Discogs now and then. And compared to the other 2 releases, Eternal Nightmare is a lot more intense and has that typical 80s production, where the second record, Oppressing the Masses, is a little heavier and has more thick production, especially on the guitars. And Eternal Nightmare is slightly better, but Liquid Courage from Oppressing the Masses is probably my favorite track from the band. Nothing to Gain is nothing special. It's a decent but not mandatory. Unfortunately, I have not been able to track down a copy of Oppressing the Masses on vinyl, as it has not been reissued since the 90s, and you have to pay €65 or close to $75 on Discogs for a copy. I read somewhere that Phil Demmel will quit Machine Head next year. Hopefully he will revive Vio-Lence, because I believe he, along with Troy Fua, is the mastermind behind the riffs on Eternal Nightmare, as Rob Flynn joined the band after most of the songs were already written. Here's some snippets. Moving on to Sweden, probably the most successful black metal band coming out of Sweden, Marduk. If you for some reason is not familiar with Marduk, it's a black metal band from Sweden. They were formed in 1990 in Norrköping. They have released 14 full-lengths and 9 EPs, along with some live records and splits. And the only constant member is founding member Håkan Steinmeier Håkansson. Morgan Steinmeier Håkansson is his name. Not Håkan Håkansson, Morgan Håkansson. Anyway, this is their debut called Dark Endless. It was originally released in '92 on No Fashion Records. This debut is pretty far from what they sound like now. This is more death metal with hints of black metal. It's very raw and unpolished, but the sound quality is excellent. The drums sounds very natural, and the bass is audible, and the guitars have a thick sound. Really good stuff. And my favorite tracks from this is Still Fucking Dead, The Funeral Seemed to Be Endless, and Departure from the Mortals. And as I said, this was originally released in '92 on No Fashion Records, but my version is the 25th anniversary release from Century Media. It's a gatefold, and the vinyl is standard black. And It includes the Here's No Peace demo on a bonus 7-inch. And the backside of the 7-inch is etched. I don't know if you can see it. You get a poster and a lyric insert with liner notes. And this is highly recommended if you're more of a death metal fan. You can pick up this here and there. Here's some snippets. After Dark Endless, Marduk released Those of the Unlight in 93 and Opus Nocturne in 94. Those two records is much more black metal, but the death metal vibe is still there. I don't own a physical copy of those two, but I have this, their fourth full length. This is Heaven Shall Burn When We Are Gathered. This was originally released in 96 on Osmos Productions. And this record differs quite a lot from their earlier stuff. Gone are the death metal leanings, and the tempo is much faster, and the new vocalist Legion has a completely different voice compared to Av Graf. This is more in the vein of Panzer Division Marduk and stuff like that. My favorite tracks are Infernal Eternal and The Black Tormentor of Satan. And as I said, this was originally released in 96, but my version is the 2018 Osmos repress. It's a gatefold. The record is on clear vinyl with some purple splatter. And Osmos still has copies left. Here are some snippets. In 98, Marduk released Nightwing. Nightwing is in the same vein as Heaven Shall Burn, but slightly worse, and I don't have a physical copy of Nightwing. In 99, they released their most hated and loved record to date, Panzer Division Marduk. This was the first record I heard with Marduk back in maybe 2001, and I was blown away at the time on the sheer intensity and brutality. If you compare this to Heaven Shall Burn, this is in the same vein, but Panzer Division Marduk never slowed down. All tracks is pretty much a non-stop sonic assault, down with really fitting World War II samples put in. It's not varied at all, but the strength thing is that even though it's full blast all the times, the songs are quite catchy. My favorite tracks are probably the title track and Christ Raping Black Metal, Beast of Prey, Blood Dawn, and 502. And I have had this CD since I bought it in 2001. One of few CDs I have left in my collection. This contains the Fuck Me Jesus EP as bonus. And I don't remember where, but I found a used 2011 picture disc somewhere and picked it up on vinyl. It has two bonus tracks, Death Ride and Todeskessel Kurland. You have track listing on the backside. The sound quality is quite good. Here's some snippets. up, there's a gap in my collection. After Panzer Division Marduk, they released La Grande Danse Macabre in 2001. This was the complete opposite of Panzer Division. It has several slow songs, and the songs are much longer, and the title track is over 8 minutes long. And I don't like La Grande Danse Macabre that much. I much more prefer when Marduk goes full speed. And in 2003, they released World Funeral. This is an excellent record with awesome tracks like With Satan and Victorious Weapons, Cloven Hoof, Night of the Long Knives, etc. But the production is horrible. It's so compressed, it feels like you're locked in a room and the album is played at max volume in a room next door. That's a shame, because otherwise this would probably be my second favorite Marduk album after Panzer Division. In 2004 they released Plague Angel, and this time Mortus from Funeral Mist have replaced Legion on vocals, and Plague Angel is much more organic sounding than World Funeral, and the songs overall are not quite as good as on World Funeral, but the first track, The Hangman of Prague, is probably my absolute favorite track in Marduk's entire discography. I just realized that they released 3 additional full-lengths after Plague Angel, but they are good, but not as good as Frontschwein. Frontschwein was released in 2015, and the World 2 theme is back, and I think that the production is probably the best of the 2000s releases. It's a very good record and probably my second favorite Marduk record. And my favorite tracks are the first 4: Frontschwein, The Blonde Beast, Africa, Varteland, but after that the record drops somewhat in quality. And this cassette is limited to 200 copies. It's black pro tape, and the J card has the lyrics. Really nice. And I wanted this on vinyl, but the cheapest I could find goes for 40 euros, so I picked it up on cassette instead. Here's a snippet. Closing the Marduk records, we have their latest release called Victoria. It was released earlier this year on Century Media and Blood Dawn Productions. This one is quite different from Frontschwein in regards that the production is a little less polished, and Mortus uses a bit of a different type of vocals here and there. And you also have the children choir in Werewolf, which is a standout track. But other than that, it's not that it's different from Frontschwein, and I can't see anyone liking Frontschwein dislike Victoria. The vinyl was available in a variety of in different colors, but my local record store just had the standard black, so that's the one I have. And it includes a sheet. Here are some snippets that conclude Marduk for the time being. Moving on from Marduk, we have another band that a lot of people have a hate-love relationship with. This is Ordinary Corrupt Human Love by Deaf Heaven. This is Deaf Heaven's fourth full-length and the follow-up to 2015's New Bermuda. It's far less metal and more post-rock pop than on New Bermuda. It's a little overlong. It clocks in at over 1 hour, and the vocal fits the music very well when there are blast beats, but they're not so very frequent on this record, and the vocals completely destroys the mood in some parts because there are a lot of places where they don't fit at all. The record has also have a couple of tracks that have no digital guitars at all and are more like pop songs. They are very good though, but that's the only two tracks where there are no harsh vocals destroying the entire track. My two favorite tracks are Honeycomb and Near. All in all, this was a disappointment. I thought New Bermuda was a step up from Sunbather, but Ordinary Corrupt Human Love is Deaf Heaven's weakest album to date, in my opinion. And if you don't like their style at all, you should stay away. Anyway, it's a gatefold. The vinyl was available in a variety of colors, and I picked up the yellow clear. And here you have lyrics. Here are some snippets. Det var allt för denna gång. Support the bands and buy the music. Thanks for watching. Bye.